Hello and welcome to Doug Watts. How are you, Doug?
Hi, I'm doing all right, thank you, Craig. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Yes, as well as could be expected under the circumstances. And I have the privilege of asking you some things about your musical life and your first impressions, because you are one of our new arrangers on Choir Community, and we're very excited to have you
Thank you.
and your arrangements, and look forward to all the lovely things we can do together. And people will be curious to find out more about you and maybe where you got your musical ideas from and how it all started. So I'm going to first start off with casting your mind right back, and I would like one of your earliest impressions of music, how music sort of infiltrated your life, or you became aware as a young child of music per se. Was it an outside influence or something that somebody gave you? How did it all start?
That's an interesting one. I think when I was very young, I was given it's like a white guitar. It's like a children's guitar. It's only about so big, probably the size of a ukulele, to be honest. And it had like the country and western things around the outside, and that was, I suppose, as a kid's toy, absolutely brilliant fun. Loved
Okay.
it. So I think it might be that as a present.
And did you play it a lot, or what did you do with it?
I
Did you
think as much as can be
did you
expected for a little one. So it was sort of, strumming it, hoping to make a sound, that kind of thing. It's just mucking around at that stage, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose so. And so was there any music recorded otherwise that sort of you became aware of? Was there a cassette or a CD or a vinyl? I think you're a bit younger than me, so maybe not vinyl. But what was the first sort of recorded music you heard and listened to?
Oh, that's a good question. I did have a cassette player. I was post vinyl, but I
Okay.
did have a Walkman, and I'm maybe slightly embarrassed to say that my first tape was S Club 7.
I I don't know where the embarrassment is there. That's
Well, I mean, I love it nostalgically now, but I had their first tape on my Walkman, which was
yeah,
brilliant.
some good
Um,
tunes there.
yeah, it's really good.
I
It's really
think you
good.
beat them out. I had the Wombles.
Oh wow.
I put S Club 7 a little bit above the
Above
Wombles.
the Wombles.
And
I think
maybe
they'd be pleased to know that.
we should find them and let them know.
The Wombles.
No, S Club.
Oh.
Well, that's going down an interesting route already. So I know that you became a pianist, and that's your first instrument. But was that the first instrument you played? Did you
It
play anything else before that?
it wasn't. So my first instrument really was the trumpet.
Okay.
Weirdly,
What
when
happened to
we
that?
were. That's that's a good question. It gave me headaches.
Oh right.
Yeah. So trumpet, like something to do with the tight embouchure, it just the pressure gave me these headaches. Myself and my brother were about the same age. We both started. We were about 7 or 8, something like that. And I had a trumpet, and he had a cornet. I was slightly bigger, I suppose. Um, and yeah, and it was fine. We got to grade 2 at the same time.
Impressive.
But I never really took to it. I don't think.
Okay.
It was okay, but never really took to it. He's funny enough. He's now a professional trumpeter,
Wow.
um, but I left that alone, and
You
then went
channeled
into
all your
piano.
skill into him there.
Well, I mean, I stand by the fact that when we both did our grade 2, I got a slightly higher mark. I got 3 points more, so I quit while I was ahead. You
It
know,
could have been good. It could have
yeah.
been good.
Well, yeah, quite, yeah. Just quit while I was ahead. It's just, yeah.
So the piano then took over as a main instrument. Did you go through the grades, or was it a different approach?
Yeah, I did the piano very traditionally, I think. I had a couple of trumpet teachers, but then left that behind, thankfully. Yeah, like I say, the headaches I just couldn't quite deal with from myself playing and from my brother playing.
Yeah.
It's just so noisy, isn't it? Anyway, went on
I guess
to
it's hard
the.
to play very quiet when you're young.
You can't really do it, can you? With a trumpet, I think if you're playing quietly, you're not really playing the trumpet. Um, you're doing something else. Anyway, so yeah, went onto the piano, and like you say, did the grades very traditionally, I suppose. I had a local piano teacher, taught younger kids. So I was probably about 9 or 10 when I did that.
Yeah.
So not particularly young.
And was there a
Um,
favourite composer that cropped up and you thought each time you played a bit of what they did, you thought, oh, I like this?
oh, that's that. Yes, yes, I suppose there was. I think at the time that was very much in the Ludovico Einaudi heyday.
Okay, really?
Yeah. So he was. I mean, he was everywhere. Classic FM radio, all the works.
Yeah.
So that was on constantly. My mum had the CDs. So anything kind of that arpeggio based. So it's sort of pop.
I'm talking about the grade pieces, really, because they
the
would put
grade
an Audi in the
pieces.
grade. Would they put an Audi in the grade pieces?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay. So as you went through the grades, was there a composer that you thought, oh, I like him?
Liked my Bach.
Really?
Yeah,
A lot of notes.
JS, of course. Sorry?
A lot of notes.
A lot of notes. Yeah, a lot of notes. But
Lovely.
yeah.
Good notes. Good choice notes, though.
Oh yeah. Oh, they're all wonderful. Yeah.
Can you remember one of your best musical experiences you had at school?
I did the traditional Once in Royal David City, like the thing at the start of a carol concert.
In front of everybody.
Yeah. Which was probably my first kind of public singing thing, I suppose. That was year 7. My voice broke relatively late, so I was still a treble for the first few years of high school. So probably that, I think.
All right. And did you get accolades? Did people say, "Oh, that's really nice," or did you get furtive glances? How did that work?
I remember, I distinctly remember someone saying, "Well done, you were a bit breathy." So that stuck with me, but I think that's always the way, isn't it?
Nothing. Yeah. A critique early on.
Oh yeah, totally. That's always the way, though, isn't it? You remember the criticisms more than. I mean, if there were praise, I don't know. I don't really remember.
Oh, and so piano became an important thing, and maybe a bit of singing. But so the conducting, has that come later? Was there always later at university? Was there a moment where you thought, right, now I'm going to do both, or I'm going to do either? How did that come in?
Much later. I think bits and bobs came up at uni that we sort of needed someone to run. It was I went to Bristol, and it was a really, really lively music department, and the students we were always putting on things and whatnot. And I ended up just sort of running workshops, and then I think one of the conductors couldn't make a rehearsal, so asked if I'd mind doing it. I suppose they pick a gobby tenor, don't they? And yeah, I went from there really. And then when I was, I would have been second year, I auditioned for a local community choir. They were looking for a new conductor and got that post. I was about 20. I don't think I'd quite turned 21. And then ran the university chamber choir for them in my 3rd year of university. So it took a few years of kind of doing bits and bobs and experimenting, and just conducting for people and whatnot, before I just sort of realised that was my instrument, I suppose. I was never particularly proficient at piano. Could do it, don't get me wrong, and I was first study voice at university. But then kind of came around to the idea that actually, like, the thing I really enjoy doing is wave my arms around, I guess.
And maybe using your voice to lead others.
I suppose, yeah. I think I prefer the sound of other people's voices to my own.
That sounded like you kind of fell into it because of a vacancy rather than something you decided you wanted to do one day.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think I sort of put myself in a position where when vacancies came up, I was going to go, can I have a go? And just gave it a try, really. But yeah, I think that's fair. I think I kind of fell into it.
Always one to volunteer. That's always good.
Yeah.
And in fact, I think I've benefited from that at Blokefest. I believe that I asked for volunteers to sing a line. I think you were the first to step up, if I remember rightly.
I think you're right. Yeah, I was. Yeah, they're warming
You're
the
just the sort of person we need in every given situation. Looking back, I'm going to include school and university here. So, was there one particular teacher that you remember and think, well, they were inspiring and they influenced me in a certain way? Or were there many teachers who were great? But was there?
Oh, I think I'd be cutting myself short if I said there weren't many. There were definitely a few like big influences. I think probably my biggest one, early on-ish, would be my piano teacher for my later grades, I suppose. He was proper, like I'd call him proper old school piano teacher, like very, very short fellow. He might watch this, I suppose. I don't know. Anyway, short fellow, lovely guy. Dare I say it, tiny hands. Like he was a good foot shorter than I was.
Wow.
But a Beethoven fanatic. And my God, the noise he could make from a piano was just incredible. And he's the chap that sort of taught me to sight read. He got me. He was one of the first people that got me conducting, actually, because I sang in a male voice choir for him as well. I was friends with his son. We used to play in a band together, and he put me and another student just in front of a male voice choir. So I had like 50, 60 blokes. I would have been 17 at the time, 18, and he was just like, and he gave me a piece to learn and told me to do it, and that was that. So he was a massive influence.
Oh wow! And anyone else after that? Sort of or university time, but later on. Yeah.
So my my music teacher in college, we're still good friends now. Orion, he was the director of music when I was at college. So that was was I 17, 18, something like that. Really, really influential. He was the one that sort of persuaded me to do music rather than anything else. Long story short, I'd always thought I was going to do the sciences. For a long time I'd wanted to do medicine, and then realised I was squeamish. Not for me. That's what work experience is for, I suppose. Yeah. Anyway, and I was going to do zoology, biology, all that stuff. And he twisted my arm into doing more singing and more singing and more singing. And then eventually I realised it was what I wanted to do. So I suppose he was the one that made me want to turn it into a career.
Oh, you've actually answered my next question. So was the decision to make music more of a focus. That obviously happened while you were at university.
Just before.
So
I was literally about to leave for uni. I was just about to go and study biology when I was about a month away from leaving, and I did this performance in my hometown. I grew up in Ledbury, a little town in Herefordshire, and it's famous for the poetry festival. I don't know if you know it. Lovely little town, really sweet. And we did the youth theatre group. I did a lot of acting and stuff back then. The youth theatre group, we put on like a short show, just little pieces we put together, and I'd written this piece and set a Mary Angelou poem to music and conducted them do it, and walked out of that thinking I can't go and do biology. I've got to have a crack at music and see what happens. Got to give it a go. So that was that, really.
Lovely. So that's nice going through university knowing that's what you wanted to do. There's a real focus. I don't think I even left university knowing quite how it was going to work out. It's a bit more random. So that's great. So you had an early start in making it work and finding out your areas of expertise, which there do seem to be many, which is wonderful. So you sing a lot. I hear you sing. You sing solos now, sort of oratorio wise, as well as conduct, and that gives a really good stopgap or a sideline to what you're doing. Is that a good break for you from the having to cope with lots of people? You're just thinking about yourself and your voice.
Yeah, I do like it. I get to sing in a church choir now, and we do. I say now, pre-lockdown, obviously, and we get to do like a service. It's only once or twice a month. And like you say, it's so nice just to sort of just be focusing on something else. I absolutely love it. It's really nice. It's I don't get to do much singing these days. I get to do the odd oratorio bit, which is good. I do enjoy it. It's fun, but I suppose choral music really is the thing I love, rather.
Well, you mentioned earlier that you had the opportunity to take over a community choir because somebody dropped out. Now, is that when you became aware of community choirs, or has the thing about community choirs, inverted commas, arrived in it from a different place, or did you make your own way with that? How did you get into that world?
Good question. So I think I'd sung in lots of bits and bobs, and I kind of had this attitude, like when I was at college, it was like, if I am going to do music as a career, I need to be doing it 24/7 and just need to live and breathe it. So I'd be doing a different community choir kind of every night when I was 17, 18, something like that. And yeah, I was obsessed. I got through so much repertoire. I loved it. It was brilliant. Anyway, and then I suppose cutting to me getting into it was Riff Raff, big pop and rock choirs in Bristol. There's a few of them. They're fantastic fun, absolutely brilliant. And they were advertising for a new conductor to start one of their groups, and they Elaine, the director, she sent out an advertisement through university. One came up. And I didn't go for it, but a friend of mine did, and he got it. And then I went for it again a few months later, So I became the third conductor on the team. At the time, that was late 2013, 2014. A while ago.
Okay, so let's find out a bit more. Let's dig a bit deeper. What would be your take on the word community when we're talking about community choirs? What's the essential ingredients of a community choir? Or are there far too many different types to mention? But what do you think of as a community choir?
To me, community choir is something that anyone can join, and I think this is where my career kind of not maybe chose one path in the sense that I love community music. That's my thing. I'm huge fan. Absolutely love it. It's ensembles, choirs that anyone can join, that you can in theory just rock up and have a go. That it's something that you can do at any level, that you can start without any experience, that you can learn more and more and more and more, and you just get more out of it, which I think is unusual in the sense of a hobby, that most you can't just rock up having never done anything before, but I think community singing you can, and I got really, really into it. I didn't want to go down the sort of professional singing road. It didn't massively appeal to me. I do it occasionally, I suppose, the odd oratorio or choral gig. But community singing, to me, being able to just turn up, to have a go, to sing, to get involved is the most important thing. And I think just forming these communities around music and having this common goal that we're working towards is the thing that really interests me about our work.
Great. So it comes on to how you became aware of us, of ChoirCommunity, and what was your first impression when you first heard of this thing happening online?
I thought it was a great idea. I think it's something that sort of came up in conversation. Oh, wouldn't it be amazing if there was this thing? And then turns out, lo and behold, you guys had started it. I think I heard about you through a few avenues, few friends of mine. So Sam Burns, I think, had emailed telling me about, I think we'd gone for a beer and we were chatting about it. And then Wendy, who funny enough lives in Portishead, just up the road. Wendy had mentioned it at some point as well.
Sargent, another of our arrangers, and Sam as well, of course.
Yeah, so I think people had mentioned it.
I met Sam back in 2015 when he brought Gert Lush to the Roundhouse for Voices Now in London, and I brought Milton Keynes, and we met up with all these choirs there. Cool. So that was a really good melting pot for things to happen, and
yeah, I bet it was. That's cool.
But I've been speaking to we've been part of I suppose a growing community. There's this festival at Stratford-on-Avon that's been run for many years called the Community Choirs Festival in Stratford.
Good name.
And I think I was talking to people there, other arrangers and other leaders, saying, we just really would love to have a place where we can legally put our arrangements copyrighted and rights owned, and that's the trouble, isn't it? And maybe you had the problem I had, where you'd written some maybe arrangements that you were able to teach by ear, but the existence of it on print was a bit of a grey area in terms of copyright, and now we've found this way to we can get it out there. So maybe that's
absolutely. I think it's fantastic. I think it's a great project.
Was that a sort of where you resonated with what we were doing? Yeah,
totally. It was these people are doing what I really, really like to do. It's a brilliant way to progress what we do in community choirs. I think it's fantastic.
And so my final question is a lovely one. And it's, what is your approach to actually arranging a song, or are there many? What turns you on musically when it comes to arrangements, maybe from arrangements you've seen other people do or arrangements you do yourself?
Right. So I'm a bit of a I get a bit obsessed with something when I'm arranging it. So quite often, I suppose, in a weird way, I like being asked to arrange something that I don't know. I feel like I can look at it really objectively. That's really, really nice. I like looking at scores, working out what people have done. I love the analysis stage of like having to work out what a composer's done, what lyricist has done, how they've done it, structure of something, and then really getting my teeth into that. I get really obsessed in the sense that I'll have a song or a piece of music on for maybe about 24 hours, something like that, for a whole day, 2 days, or different versions. I do that thing where you type it into a music streaming platform, And then there'll be 50 different versions, and I'll listen to them all. I'll just go through the lot, work out what everyone's done, how. I love that process. But I think in terms of things that grab me, I'm a bit of a folky in a sense. I like that kind of sound. A lot of my early music in my teens was playing rock music and things. So I like taking things that may be a bit heavier, a bit unusual, and making them into choral stuff. I think, I find that I like that.
Okay, so are you arranging anything at the moment?
Today I'm not. Tomorrow I'm working on a crazy little thing called Love.
Okay.
Doing that. And then
That's
I've got some more pieces to arrange this weekend for my lunchtime choir, which is next week. We're doing 2 new pieces a week at the moment, so I'm getting through a lot of music. Usually I'm like trying to find something new that someone wants to do, and then find an old piece that I've arranged before. So I'm churning out a lot of stuff in lockdown.
Okay, what's your favourite of your arrangements that you've placed with us that we can look forward to?
That you guys have got? I think Spaceman Came Travelling. That's a favourite. That's the one I reckon that sort of gets the requested the most. I never thought it would be. But it's strange. I've done it with a few choirs now.
What's nice about Christmas stuff is it keeps rolling round, so there's always another chance.
Yeah, I mean
every want to do it.
Yeah, it's nuts. Like every October, November, I get emails from people saying, "Oh, can we do Spaceman Came Travelling?" And I'm like, "Again? Really?" But I do really like it. It's a nice tune.
As you get older, Christmas comes sooner and sooner every year. By the way,
does it?
Just let you know that. Yes.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
I think it's to my age. It's every couple of months. It seems to.
Oh, right.
Seems to roll around. Well, we look forward to all the amazing things you have for us. Just before we sign off, have you got a little message for our global community? Anything you'd like to say to our global community of choirs and leaders at this time of the year and at this time in our lives and in lockdown? Is there anything you'd like to pass on to us all?
Yeah, at this time in our lives, I think it's really important, kind of in the midst of a pandemic, keep singing, have a bit of faith that we will be back in the same room together at some point. We don't know when, but have a bit of faith, I think, and just keep enjoying music. Keep listening to music, keep singing at home, singing in online choirs, singing stuff that you've done with community choirs. I think keep that magic alive, and keep enjoying it, even though we're in a little bit of a funny stage in all our lives. I think keep that magic going.
Yeah, it's like life, isn't it? It's like life in the desert and in the Arctic. It finds a way out. Music will. Singing finds its way somehow. We will all be,
totally.
All things changing, but there will be a way to do it somehow. So thank you. That's encouraging, and thank you so much for coming on and coming with us.
Thank you for having me.
Being part of our team, and we hope people will enjoy all the things you have for us. Take care, Doug. All
Thanks,
the best.
Craig.
See you soon.
Cheers.